morning, and it's one I hope you've enjoyed. Wishing you one beautiful morning on this Thursday as the week begins to close in. A week that started with rather some sad news over the weekend, and that is the passing of Cedric Babu Ndilima. Now, Cedric's remains were brought into the country days after he passed on in Nairobi, Kenya, and that is at the age of 46 years after a heart failure. May his soul rest in peace and continue resting in peace. He was part of the UBC team. He contributed a lot to the UBC team and served his nation. He was a sports administrator and such a media personality. Served, was still strong enough to serve, but unfortunately, the Lord had his own plans. So Cedric, continue resting in peace. Now, looking at a bit of politics, NUP, the race for electoral positions in the National Unity Platform, NUP, is up and such an inferno because, well, the Electoral Management Committee states that there is an unprecedented surge in the number of aspirants seeking nominations at all levels across the country. But also, speaking of nominations, the National Resistance Movement Electoral Commission has recorded over 900 registrations on the second day of nominations for parliamentary, picking up nomination forms for parliamentary and district council seats. Now, we will be talking a lot about that later on in the show, but for now, good morning. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi, and I'm with the perfect team as always, Olive Monica Najuma, as well as Robert Chirago Nyonyintono. Good morning, team.
Good morning, Julie. How are you?
I'm well. It looks like Olive and I were in the spirit to put on black, and Robert missed the memo.
They normally say great minds think alike, but
I'll move off set. Handle me carefully. I'm the only man on the set.
Oh,
so handle me carefully.
If anything, you should be happy that you're sandwiched. But Robert, what have you been looking at?
Well, first and foremost, police is stuck with 13 children that were left behind or abandoned during the Uganda Matters celebration. Now, that means their parents came with them or guardians came with them and forgot them behind. They could have trekked long distances.
Pardon me for laughing, but...
They forgot them behind, or the children meandered and the parents, by the time they tried to locate them, they couldn't. I don't want to believe that someone can come to Namugongo and dump their child
yes,
there.
But
so,
even then, I don't know how you can leave Namugongo.
Some people come in groups and they assume maybe so and so has my child.
No, I refuse.
To be honest, I'm looking for all reasons to justify.
No, there is no reason. I understand the part where you come with a child and because it's a great gathering, a big crowd, the child can easily get away from you and you try to search for them. But the point of the events ending and you leave without your child, that's the point I cannot justify. Because if you can't find it, if I can't find my child, I am staying in Kampala until the child is found. Yes. But now police is stuck with these 13 children and they're trying to find the parents. So probably some of them could probably have come alone. It's the only explanation that can make sense. Otherwise, why would you sit in a car?
You get shocked when details come out and a parent explains how that happened. But also, briefly, yesterday I saw members of NRM pick forms showing interest. And they were interesting characters. Now I saw Clark North, Anthony Akol.
Right.
This man ran on the FDC ticket and I think is the head of the Acholi parliamentary group. And now he comes to NRM and says he has been on opposition for some time but has not caused change. So for him, when discussed with the president, he said, now, let's move ahead with NRM. But also Twaha Kagabo, who came on the NUP ticket. That is Bokoto South, also crossing. But for Twaha Kagabo, I must say it was expected. If you are to use the talk of these days, you know, like he had already shown sides, he was already, so it was wise of him to go and cross over, because I highly doubt he would get a flag from Twa Kagabo. His state was very clear. Now, also interestingly, General Moses Ali is still determined to serve the people. He also picked nomination forms, and that was really the desire to serve. Many people are willing to serve and serve and serve and serve.
Right.
But of course, it goes back to the electorate there. Will they give him the vote this time around, or
True
will
story.
they not?
True
It is
story.
his right, but there is a but.
Olive, in just a second or a minute, what have you been looking at?
Well, let's start with the people that expressed interest for the next elections. And
Right.
Moses Ali, it should be noted that Moses Ali is 86 years
Right.
of age and has been in parliament since I can remember. Now, every Ugandan has a right to be in parliament. Even the members, you noted that that crossed over. We have multi-party dispensation. They are within their right to cross from one party to the other. The only thing that concerns me is that they may be crossing to NRM not to serve the party's interests, but for their own personal interests, and you cannot convince me otherwise. That's my thinking when it comes to them. But if we are asking the question of if or not what they did is right, they have that constitutional right. They can choose a party to represent. Now, for the 86-year-old Moses Ali, we don't have age limits. So
that
as
we
long as
agreed
you
that
think
we don't need.
Exactly. So as long as one feels that they are still competent, that they're still able, they can still contest on any party's ticket if it's given to them, and if the people vote for them and they go to parliament. My question is he still in good health? Is he still able? Is he still vibrant enough to serve the people of his constituency?
Yet there's also
Well,
another constituency. Let me tell you, we have a slot for older persons. Now that even if you are 100, you can contest. Yes, for
But
older persons.
are you capable health-wise? Are you
Yes.
energetic enough?
If I
But
feel I am.
we choose to look at the space and watch the events as they unfold. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the world, a young Pakistani TikTok influencer was murdered by a man who she rejected after he offered friendship to her. Sad, right? Very, very
What
sad.
is friendship? Please elaborate.
He was offering friendship.
He was pursuing her.
And she rejected. Meanwhile, take note, she is 17, this man is 22. Unfortunately, she lost her life because she said no. I'm glad she still said no anyways, and she wasn't taken advantage over. But Robert, take us through what's on the local scene.
Let me begin with that children. Olive doesn't believe the parents could have
That's a lie.
forgotten them behind.
Neither do I.
Now, police is stuck with 13 children who were abandoned by their relatives during the Mother's Day celebrations in Namugongo. This according to police report, which also indicates that at least 150 people were arrested in connection with various incidents during the celebration. Police are working closely with event hosts to manage post-Mother's Day celebration activities, particularly guiding remaining pilgrims on how to return home. The crowd includes people from various countries as well as remote areas. Some individuals are still stranded. Although security and organizers say it's still too early to determine the exact number of those in need of assistance. Security authorities in Namugongo have reported that at least 150 people were arrested for engaging in disorderly conduct aimed at disrupting the Mother's Day celebrations. Police plan to work with local leaders to screen the suspects before taking further legal action. The Police, Family and Child Protection Department are stuck with 13 children abandoned during the celebration. Those who lost phones or personal belongings are encouraged to contact the police and check the recovered items. Organizers commend security operatives for guiding pilgrims through this year's Mother's Day celebration. The management of the Catholic Shrine in Namugongo announced that at least 1.6 million pilgrims attended this year's celebrations. They also noted a growing trend in the number of international and local participants each year. Every 9th of June, Uganda celebrates Heroes Day, a public holiday set aside to commemorate the sacrifice of those who fought for the nation's liberation and prosperity. This year, Lyantonde in southwestern central Uganda district has been selected to host this year's 36th Heroes Day celebrations due to the role of the people in the area they played during the National Resistance Army liberation struggle led by President Yoweri Museveni in 1970 to 1990s. Addressing the media at Uganda Media Center in Kampala, the Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, revealed that during that day, 50 Ugandans, both alive and dead, will be recognized with medals for their various contributions to the country. The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has refuted media claims that she has betrayed President Yoweri Museveni. The Speaker addressed the media after meeting several NRM delegates who had come to show support towards her cause for the SEC race. Anita Among vowed to utilize her effort to push for the NRM agenda of national transformation. The race for the position of the second national vice chairperson female, a hot cake, has the former speaker and the current holder fighting for the same position. Anita Among met over 60 NRM delegates from Rukunjiri district and preached unity, development and sole candidature for President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ahead of the party's delegates conference. Finally, on the local scene, the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, through its Sharia department, announced that Eid al-Adha prayers will be held on Friday, the 6th of June this very year. The prayers will be led by the Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubajje, at the Gaddafi National Mosque in Old Kampala. As Muslims across the world enter the final stage of the first 10 days of Duhaj in the Islamic calendar, Uganda Muslim Supreme Council leadership has issued guidance for the Eid celebration. Deputy Director of Sharia at the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, Sheikh Salim Bossa, announced that Eid al-Adha prayers will be on Friday, June the 6th. According to the Sharia department, Thursday of June 5th will mark the day of Arafah, a day highly recommended for fasting. The Eid al-Adha prayers will begin promptly at 8 a.m. at the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council headquarters, which is Gaddafi Mosque in Old Kampala, with the National's Mufti Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubajje set to lead the congregation. Eid al-Adha, also known as the Festival of Sacrifice, commemorates the obedience of Prophet Ibrahim and the mercy of Allah. Sheikh Bossa announced Muslims who are rich must slaughter and give to the needy as the Prophet Muhammad and Prophet Ibrahim did. Well, that brings us to the end of our local stories this morning.
Well, now moving on to the international news stories, Vladimir Putin has said he will have to respond to Ukraine's major drone attack on Russia's air bases. This according to US President Donald Trump, as he warned. Speaking after a phone call with the Russian president, Trump said, and I quote, President Putin did say, and very strongly, that he will have to respond to the recent attack on the airfields. Russian officials declined to confirm this on Wednesday night, but Moscow had earlier said that military options were on the table for its response. Trump warned in a social media post that the phone call, which lasted more than an hour, would not lead to immediate peace between Russia and Ukraine. Russia's RIA Novosti, a state-owned news agency, said Putin told Trump that Ukraine has tried to disrupt the negotiations and that the government in Kyiv has essentially turned into a terrorist organization. The two also exchanged views on the prospects for restoring cooperation between the countries, which has enormous potential, it said. The conversation between the two leaders marks the first since Ukraine launched a surprise attack using smuggled drones to strike Russian air bases on June 1st, targeting what it said were nuclear-capable long-range bombers. Moving on, United States President Donald Trump has signed an executive order imposing a full travel ban on people from 12 countries and restricting the citizens of 7 other countries, the White House has said. The banned countries include Afghanistan, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Myanmar, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. In addition to the ban announced on Wednesday, there will be heightened restrictions on people from Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. I must act to protect the national security and national interest of the United States and its people, Trump said in his order. The order comes into force on Monday, June 9th, 2025 at 12:01 a.m. local time in Washington. Visas issued before that date will not be revoked, the order said. In a video message released by the White House, Trump said the recent attack on a pro-Israel rally in Boulder, Colorado, had underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted. Now coming back to East Africa, Tanzania has decided to block access to social media platform X because it allows pornographic content to be shared, the information minister has said. The content was contrary to the East African state's laws, culture, customs, and traditions, Jerish Sila told a local TV station. Tanzanians have reported that access to X has been restricted in the last 2 weeks after political tensions rose and the police account was hacked, but there has not yet been a total shutdown of the platform. A Tanzanian rights group posted on X that Sila's comments reflected a troubling pattern of digital repression ahead of October's presidential and parliamentary elections. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan's government has been accused of becoming increasingly repressive as it campaigns to remain in office. In its post, the Legal and Human Rights Center said that X, then known as Twitter, faced a similar shutdown in the run-up to the 2020 election, and the recurrence of restrictions raised serious concerns about the openness of digital space in Tanzania. The popular social audio app Clubhouse and messaging service Telegram are also inaccessible without the use of virtual private networks, also known as VPNs, this according to the rights group in Tanzania. Wow. Interesting turn of events in Tanzania.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know, right? Tanzania is becoming hard to reach. I mean, even its e-paper is now hard to easily find online, the Citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And a couple of months ago, there is a time it had been banned for like a month, I think.
Yeah.
Because of an article they published that went against the government's.
Speaking
she was my woman. I'm starting to wonder.
Speaking of papers, let's have a look at what is in the new vision today. Starting with the new vision, economy grows to 226 trillion Uganda shillings. That is a headline in the new vision. And the State of Nation address, what Ugandans expect from the president. In the picture there is land boss jailed over titles. And there is a story of Post Bank awarded for boosting agriculture. There is an opportunity, many opportunities, 190 tender opportunities in there. Crime, Munyonyo explosion, security searches suspects home. And therein is Ask URA Commissioner General, what are the land sale tax obligations? Now let's have a look at what is in the Daily Monitor today. The headline is a mixed state of affairs. That is in the Daily Monitor. Still there, Munyonyo explosion victim lived secretive life. And Road to 2026, hundreds throng NRM offices for forms. And in there is charge to transport stranded pilgrims. And farmers face jail over contaminated maize. And the Lizard has something to say. It says, yet the Lizard family might be blamed. That is regarding this headline, a mixed state of affairs. Oh, wow, the Lizard. Anyways, in the Daily Monitor still, Commissioner of Land Registration, Mugaino sent to Luzira prison, and DM Extra has harassment women endure while commuting. This is indeed quite true and relatable. Now let's head over to Kenya. Daily Nation has the headline, MPs punch 6 billion shillings hole in school budget. And in there is why Mbarire is on the warpath rattling UDA. Money pit, costly repairs at DP's Karen residence. And that's really what is in the Daily Nation. But there is a story that's also interesting on the African scene, and that is a South African politician who was sacked over visiting a fugitive pastor. I wonder what you guys will think about this, but here's the story. A top official in one of South Africa's biggest political parties has been sacked after he visited a controversial Malawian pastor in April. And this is Floyd Shivambu, who has been removed as Secretary General of MK Party barely 6 months into the job after he attended an Easter service at the self-proclaimed Pastor Shepherd Bushiri's church. Pastor Shepherd Bushiri, or from Malawi, was one of South Africa's best-known preachers when he was arrested and charged with fraud in South Africa in 2020. Now, I don't know what the two of you would think about this, but would you sack anyone of their political position because of their beliefs and who they believe?
Do you think he was sacked because of his beliefs, or it is because the person he visited is a fugitive, and in his capacity as a minister or a government officer, this goes against the government? It's like if someone is persona non grata into UBC over a crime, and then you are pictured with them as a person, aren't you putting yourself in hot soup?
Yeah.
Well, I want to look at it this way. If they looked at it legally,
right?
Is it within their laws? If they looked at it morally, does it make sense? Because sometimes what is legally right may be morally wrong, and what is morally right may be legally wrong. So that is how I want to first understand it. But you see, when I bring it back home here in Uganda, for us, those are things we don't mind. I remember one time, one VIP was pictured in a shrine, a sabu. And some people like, but to be honest,
Olive, you seem surprised, don't you remember? The year 20, before the 2021 general elections.
And I remember, but I am shocked that Robert brought it.
So, and for us, we are us. And that
Anyways,
wouldn't be a big deal.
very interesting story, that one is. What do you think about it? But staying on the lighter side of life, we do serve with amazing people that you don't get to see on camera, but they are behind the scenes. And one of them is one we're celebrating today. His name is Shafiq. Shafiq is one of the production team members here on Good Morning Uganda, and today is his birthday. Happy birthday to you, Shafiq. We obviously love you, and we appreciate your service. We appreciate your zeal. We appreciate you being on the team, and we celebrate you every day. So today is your special day, celebrating another 365 days around the sun.
Yes.
May God bless you. May God lift you. May you see him.
Yeah, happy birthday, Shafiq. This one is one of my favorites. Yeah, so yes, it's a beautiful day. Oh my God, he was born just a few days before my birthday, which is on Saturday.
Woohoo! All right, so we should celebrate your birthday tomorrow.
On Friday.
I know, right? Let's have a short break.
Look at your national
Oh,
ID.
come on.
Let's have a short break, and as we enjoy some music from Radio and Weasel Breath Away.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
I can be your African Michael Jackson.
You get shocked
There's no
when details
justification
come
for
out and a parent
Olive,
explains
what have you
how
been
that
looking
happened. But also, briefly,
Right.
yesterday I saw members of NRM pick forms showing interest. And they were interesting characters. Now I saw Clark North, Anthony Akol.
Right.
This man ran on the FDC ticket and I think is the head of the Acholi parliamentary group. And now he comes to NRM and says he has been in opposition for some time but has not caused change. So for him, when discussed with the president, he said, now, let's move ahead with NRM. But also Twaha Kagabo, who came on the NUP ticket, that is Bokoto South, also crossing. But for Twaha Kagabo, I must say it was expected. If you are to use the talk of these days, about them on you know, like he had already shown sides, he was already, so it was wise of him to go and cross over, because I highly doubt he would get a flag from Twaha Kagabo. His state was very clear. Now, also interestingly, General Moses Ali is still determined to serve the people. He also picked nomination forms, and it was really the desire to serve. Many people are willing to serve and serve and serve and serve.
Right.
But of course, it goes back to the electorate there. Will they give him the vote this time around, or
True
will
story.
they not?
True
It is
story.
his right, but there is a but.
Olive, in just a second or a minute, what have you been looking at?
Well, let's start with the people that expressed interest for the next elections. And
Right.
Moses Ali, it should be noted that Moses Ali is 86 years
Right.
of age and has been in parliament since I can remember. Now, every Ugandan has a right to be in parliament. Even the members, you noted that that crossed over. We have multi-party dispensation. They are within their right to cross from one party to the other. The only thing that concerns me is that they may be crossing to NRM not to serve the party's interests, but for their own personal interests, and you cannot convince me otherwise. That's my thinking when it comes to them. But if we are asking the question of if or not what they did is right, they have that constitutional right. They can choose a party to represent. Now, for the 86-year-old Moses Ali, we don't have age limits. So
that
as
we
long as
agreed
you
that
think
we don't need.
Exactly. So as long as one feels that they are still competent, that they are still able, they can still contest on any party's ticket if it's given to them, and if the people vote for them and they go to parliament. My question is he still in good health? Is he still able? Is he still vibrant enough to serve the people of his constituency?
Yet there's also another constituency. Let me tell you, we have a slot for older persons. Now that even if you are 100, you can contest. Yes, for older persons.
Are you capable health-wise? Are you energetic enough?
If I feel I am.
We choose to look at the space and watch the events as they unfold. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the world, a young Pakistani TikTok influencer was murdered by a man who she rejected after he offered friendship to her. Sad, right? Very, very sad.
What is friendship? Please elaborate.
He was offering friendship.
He was pursuing her.
And she rejected. Meanwhile, take note, she is 17, this man is 22.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by.
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the rider selection campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Good morning once again. Welcome back from that break. Thank you so much for being on UBC TV, and good morning, Uganda. And if you are just joining us, thank you so much for choosing us. If you've been with us since the start of the show, thank you for sticking around. And allow me read this comment from Anwar or Obote Stefan from Gulu Army. Hey, okay. You say, good morning, Robert. Nice. Thank you for your news. We are watching you live from Gulu. Thank you so much, Stefan, for being on the show. Now, today is day 3 of the interested NRM faithfuls to pick up nomination forms as they express their interest in participating in the 2026 general elections on the NRM ticket. And the process is running until June 15th, and thereafter on June 17th is the scheduled date for nominations to take place. Now, any members vying for example, parliamentary seats, you have to pay 3 million. And of course, we also looked at earlier on in the year, we looked at positions like the presidential elections. One who wants to be president will be paying 20 million, and one who wants to be, for example, LC5 chairperson, you pay 1 million. But altogether today we are delving deep into that conversation and looking particularly at the process of picking up nomination forms, who picked up nomination forms, and the different angles this particular conversation can be looked at and into. So be a part of the conversation, 0709-6025-9 to engage as we discuss. It's one interesting one, I must say, because there's different opinions and different vantage points from which each one of us sees things. That's why it's very interesting and pertinent that you are a part of the conversation. Tim, I will start with the fact, in fact, with Robert, I will start with the fact that the money that is being paid. For example, those who are vying for parliamentary seats are paying 3 million, and the money is not stopping anyone. We have seen, we've just read how about over 900 members are turned up on day 2 to pick nomination forms. That means numbers and numbers are thronging the NRM party headquarters to pick nomination forms to express their interest in contesting on the NRM ticket in particular. Whilst we thought that heightening the fees would regulate, it shows you that nope, it actually is in fact encouraging. But what do you think do you think it's a matter of service? These people are coming in the heart of service, servant leadership. Do you think it's a matter of business anyways? But what's your view? What do you think the numbers are?
Well, now you've asked me and partly given me an answer. You've reminded me in school where we had A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, options.
Your role was just to tick to circle. I'm told these days, even so, if you that was section A, section B.
It was always section A. And I'm picking both of your minds because it's different perspectives that are very interesting. But I want to start with you, Robert.
I must say, if there's any form of gambling that is profitable, it is political gambling. What do I mean? That you inject your money, not very sure that you'll go through unless you are unopposed. So you gamble. Why am I calling it political gambling? The last election we had, there came in what we called the wave. And you know, like a wave, it brings anything. I'm sorry to say, but the wave picks anything it finds. Now, people who went into this election sure that they will have victory, some of them were disappointed. Now, when you put your money in the politics of today, you may not be sure. That's why you see people crossing here and there. And more and more are yet to cross. We saw Rutamaguzi crossing from Democratic to Nope. Now, I must say first and foremost, if luck is with you and you calculated properly, Uganda's politics is an investment you can never go wrong. I want to repeat that statement. If you're strategic enough and luck is with you, or you convince the people and everything goes your way, investing in politics is the best profitable business. It's among, because farming is better, but it's among those businesses that you'll do and never regret.
Robert, you sound like you're actually advertising.
But these are the facts.
It's enticing us to join politics to make money.
And you will. I've seen people who are in March India, they are moving, they made it to now they are councillors, come at KCCA here. My God, Lord Councillor, you have loans, you have this, life changes, become a member of parliament. One time I was at the swearing in of MPs, banks were there giving you 500 million, a loan, a billion, you know, and this you're going to get from you. So what profit? Then there is allowance here, then sometimes we hear money in the corners, they were given this, that. My friend, you get a car and you're not accountable if you bought the car or not, you know.
Yeah, so I recently ran into a member of parliament with a very old car.
Yes.
And I was like, where is the 500 million?
John Kenny Ruchams, every time he was in parliament, he would get money for the car, but he was cruising in a very old car. So this is money
I even remember its color.
Yes, this is the money you're getting. Tell me which job, how many jobs are you going to get that have all those privileges? You have treatment, you can be flown abroad. So it is worth investing. But I don't want to deny that there are still those who come to serve their electorate, and these are just benefits. I saw Honorable Matia Kasaija saying, I would love to go, but I think there are some things that have not yet finished, and they still need me. So let me go for this term, and 2030, I will not return. Honorable Jim Muhwezi also is one of those who say they may not return, but of course politicians, you never know. The issues may not be complete by 2030, and they must return to accomplish them. Like General Moses Hali, he has had issues not completing, and he has to keep on running to ensure that he serves his people better. So, service, some come for service, but by and large, we've commercialized politics, and many are coming because they're not coming to serve us, but they are coming for the benefits. You can't tell me I sell my house, that I'm dying to serve a constituency. Maybe I'm so shallow to understand that, how I would convince my madam, we sell our marital home, we go into politics, because we really feel we have to serve the people of Busiro East. You know, we must have the hospitals.
Let me pick Olive's mind on that. What do you think is informing these huge numbers, despite the heightening of prices for nomination forms?
First of all, let me have a comment on the cost of you know, getting the nomination form. I think I personally actually am okay with the amount that has been set by the NRM party, because I am of the view that if you're too poor to afford 3 million shillings or even 5, then it means you're not ready. Let's face it, politics, because when you're going through the campaigns, it is expensive, it is costly. So if you cannot, it's like preparing a wedding and you don't even have 70% of the budget. You should have 70% or 80%, and then other people can add on to that. So if you cannot afford to finance your campaigns to a certain degree, then you have no business being part of politics.
Just with your good ideas.
The only qualm I have is that the people who are very rich or have access to more and more financing are taking these elections, are winning elections, not because they want to serve the people, but because it is a business investment, like Robert put it. So if it were just affording, let's say, for instance, presidential aspirants at the Electoral Commission will be paying around 10 million, right? And in my view, I'm like, 10 million, if you really are vying to be a president of a nation, this is money you should afford.
Actually, it was raised to 20 million now.
Exactly, to 20 million.
Doubled.
This is money you should afford. My only qualm would be that where I can raise 20 million, someone else is, you know, giving envelopes of 5 here, 5 there. They're already spending 100 million when I'm just paying for the nomination forms. So that's where the problem is. I think it's a thin line, really, because I believe there is someone out there who is saying, Olive, you might be contradicting yourself, but I don't think I am. You should be able to pay for your nomination forms without help. It's like a man saying, I'm going to Kwanjula Olive, but Robert, I need a contribution. What do you mean? You're not ready for marriage. But anyway, when I look at the number of people that turned up for the to pick the nomination forms, 900 of them, Julie, I am afraid I'm going to agree with Robert here.
Right.
They are not bleeding hearts seeking to serve their interests. No. When you look at some of them, they have been in parliament for over 30 years. And two ministers even promised, oh, in 2031, we won't come back. That doesn't make news to me. Because if you said you're not coming back next year, that would make news. But you still need a new term to come to parliament to not serve people, but probably to get whatever you can get in the next 5 years. So
now, staying there, let's actually look at the figures, some of the interesting figures that have so far picked up nominations. We have Honorable Moses Ali, who is not in the best position health-wise, clearly and evidently, but he also picked up nominations. We have Honorable Jim Mwezi, who also mentioned that this is his last term of office, and 2031, that will be it for him. And Honorable Matia Kasaija, who also mentioned that this should be his last term of service as well. Now, Honorable Twaha Kagabo he expressed interest in running on the NRM party ticket come 2026 after serving under NUP from 2021. And Honorable Anthony Akol also expressed interest in contesting under the NRM ticket after serving under the FDC party. Those are the few figures that have really made news.
Yes.
As far as those who have picked up nomination forms. And what is your mind when it comes to all this?
Now, my mind is pretty much the same thing. When I look at Honorable Moses Ali, I do understand that we do not have age limit when it comes to our politics. But I also understand that you should be in good health, that your energies must be to a certain place for you to go back to parliament. And if you ask me, my personal opinion as Olive, an opinion that is known for UBC, it is that this gentleman needs to rest and enjoy his retirement and enjoy his grandchildren and let people that are a bit younger and vibrant to come and serve. If he was evidently healthy, evidently in good shape, I would be okay with him vying for president, for member of parliament position. But we've seen the footages. We've looked at him and you can see he's weak. He is tired. You get.
He's actually helped to speak.
Exactly, he's helped to speak. Yes. So when it comes to him, I am concerned about his health. He's evidently weak. He needs to rest. But if he were in good, good health,
perfect health condition.
Perfect health, yes. Now, when we look at the members of parliament that have crossed over, I have two questions. One, I am like, why is it that when someone crosses over from the opposition to NRM, it is frowned upon? Is someone supposed to be opposition for the rest of their political career? Or they have the presence of mind, they are allowed the liberty to actually choose otherwise.
Right.
But then after asking that question, I have another question. Why are you crossing over from opposition to NRM? Have the issues that you had against NRM gone away? What has made you change your mind? I'm okay with you crossing over, but give me a viable reason. Honorable Kagabo said, I've enjoyed my time in NUP, but now I think it's time to play for the big
league.
What do you mean by that? You get it? That is not sufficient reason for you to cross over from one party to another. It actually makes me feel like you're the people who are going in that party purposely for personal gain.
Well, I want to pick it from here. Right. And, well, regarding General Moses Ali, I think we'll wait for the people to make their choice. It is them who can save him, if I may use that word, or it is them that can express how he's doing better. Because we even have members of parliament, if you go on the answered, that much as he may be in poor health, but we have those in very good health that on the answered may even have never been noted as yawning. But they look very healthy. So they are not good at legislating. They are there, but they have gone and they are serving people. I want to send my greetings to Honorable Kazibwe Bashir. That is Kawempe North. So I'm just saying, we have those members of parliament that when you look for that answered, David Procol had some thing he used to publish showing how various members of parliament have performed, but I don't know what happened to that. It was fought and fought and fought. Now, so
since we're in the spirit of sending greetings, I would like to send my greetings to Honorable Geoffrey Lutaya.
Oh, there's a time Honorable Geoffrey Lutaya.
It's not the same as Honorable Bashir.
Okay,
somewhere.
So for me, the health, I want to look at it that way. If this man may not be in good health, but he's lobbying for his constituency.
The question is,
yes, he has transformed that area. Yes, he's building schools every now and then, and all that.
Right.
That is one.
Right.
And also maybe in his way, there is a way he communicates and things are happening in this area.
Robert,
and you have a young MP who has done not legislation, not lobbying, you know. Now, if the people feel it that this man can do us justice, let it go. I want to leave General Moses like that. Now, I want to go to Honorable Clark North. One, he's coming from FDC.
Yes.
We all know what is happening in FDC. We have a party out of another party. There's a lot of disorganization. And don't forget that NRM in his constituency is gaining momentum.
Right.
In northern Uganda, NRM is gaining momentum. Now, one of the things politicians look for or out for, they look at where I'm contesting. What is the strength of my party? FDC in northern Uganda is losing grip. So you may hardly get people voting for you on a party basis, whereas NRM is picking ground. So it was a good calculation for him.
So, Robert, sorry to interject. What you are saying is exactly what I was saying. It is calculation, it is a business, wanonfuna, wanosifuna, here I get, here I don't get. And it has nothing to do with the
From what I'm picking, I think it's maybe that it's a blend of both. If you want to serve and be positioned to serve, perhaps you must play your cards right.
Yes, that's why you saw that.
I think
did
it's
you
what
remember
Robert is
when
trying
we
to
had
do you hear that we are all saying the same thing,
people power
using different words?
How MPs migrated. Now let's go to Honorable Twaha Kagabo. A man I've followed so much. He came on a national unity platform ticket.
Yes.
But even when you go to Bukoto South, I've interacted with a number of people. Some tell me, and these are active politicians, that this man was initially NRM.
But
He was. But because of the wave, he clings to national unity platform. And because we don't have serious mentorship, cadre selection, he was able, remember those days in NUP, we had a, for example, I'll take you, Honorable Nabira Nagai Sempala. From this party, got a ticket for Lord Mayorship.
Right, right.
There are some panic and things I can't explain.
Now, Robert, yes.
For him, when he went to national unity platform, if you remember very well, Honorable Twaka Kagaba has been so much, is it PL, General Moses?
PLU.
PLU.
Patriotically.
Yeah, he was so much there in Patriotic League. He was a problem to NUP. And he was very sure that at no cost would national unity platform offer him a ticket.
Right.
Let me ask you a
I
question,
never wanted to go as an
Let
independent.
me ask you, Robert. We've had different political parties calling some of their members, especially National Unity Platform Party, calling some of its members moles. You get plants. So do you think Twaha could have been a plant? Did NUP have, from what we are saying right now, do you think they were right to call him that?
They were right, because actually for him, he didn't even hide himself. He would come out here and fire at them. He says he's in the party, but fire at him, just like Honorable Tamaguzu was sitting at Democratic Party.
Right.
And it was obvious that
and just like Honorable Barnabas Tinkasimire also
but you see,
fires shots.
NRM is tricky. Let me tell you, there is something NRM has that you may hit them within, and they'll still bear you.
Speaking of problems,
because they want the numbers.
Speaking of problems, in 2021, Honorable Jessica Alupo contested as an independent after being defeated at the primaries level. And she ultimately defeated the official NRM candidate, who was Violet Akurut. I think I'm getting the name right, Akurut. And all in all, she's now the member of parliament.
And the vice president.
And the vice president, and that indeed. And she has already picked up her nomination forms to contest again under the NRM ticket. But that being said, let's look at the issue of independence. Robert, and this is to you. First of all, what does the NRM say? What does the NRM law say concerning independence right now?
Well, NRM has for a long time not come out clearly on the issue of independence as a party. When you speak to their Secretary General, he will tell you this time we may not, we will not. When you talk to the Chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Tango Do, he will still say that, but they don't have it in their law, like you can quote the National Unity Platform, where it says for them, if you stand against their official candidate, you cease to be a member. And there's a process for you to go through, either to be welcomed back in the party or totally sent away from the party. Now, NRM has remained silent. And I want to say this, why NRM remains in that unclear state. Look, they have had party primaries. We've seen the few party primaries, not yet gone to parliamentary. But you've seen the drama that has ensued. So I think sometimes why they leave people come as independents, they look at their internal democracy having been unfair to these people.
But I think it's also a thing of looking ahead, because these independents will still be aligned to NRM, and in Parliament will contribute a
Actually,
big
this
deal.
is what NRM does.
A great deal to...
Once you go through as an independent, they sign what they call a memorandum of understanding. So you sign that memorandum and you offer your allegiance to NRM, which is your party. Because these people still want NRM. Those independents don't come out and say that we've totally quit NRM.
It's a game of numbers in Parliament with
just
whatever
that they
is passed.
feel they were unfairly treated, and they feel that because what internal democracy is supposed to do, Olive and Julie, we are supposed to say, the three of us, yes? Let's choose the best of us to represent us. And that best includes the person who has the ability, the person who we believe that people will vote for. Now, if the process of choosing has things that cause dissatisfaction, and our best is not the choice of the people, but the person we dropped becomes the choice of the people, then we should not judge this person who has gone as an independent.
Right. Time is not our best friend, but let's begin to close this with a few of your comments. And good morning, UBC Uganda. Thank you for the program. Okay. Just a bit as the device is engaging.
Maybe
but,
what I could say about what
please.
Robert is saying.
Right.
Yeah, it's one thing to say that internal politics, these people were unfairly treated. But you see, if a house goes against itself, that house cannot stand. Right now, NRM is very, very lucky that they have a strong leader in the person of the NRM chairperson, who is the president, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. But if they continue acting like this, I want to see a time, what if, because a day will come when the president is here no more, and he normally tells us, me, I'm old, anytime the time will come when I'm not here, as
Right.
that is the fact of life. Will the party stand without him? Because it seems like he's the only person they listen
the glue.
to. He's the glue, and he's a strong leader. We cannot take that for granted. But if they're going against the party makeup, the party rules to be independent, then it's a house against itself. And that house eventually cannot stand. Right now, Democratic Party may have its problems, but the reason it has been here since independence is because they had certain structures and rules and regulations that they maintained
Up until date.
up until right now. I don't know. Right now it's debatable. Right now it's debatable.
no
but
longer brain
Colleagues,
power.
this
They're
conversation
fighting.
could go on and on and on, but the political scene is right now all that we're talking about. The general elections 2026 are just, the process already began, and we're watching every event as it unfolds. So we're here to bring it to you as it unfolds on UBC. Always here to inspire you. Good morning, Uganda. JMU Tourism Express is up next.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Okwongera okuyiga ebikwata ku musolo n'okubisembereza abagusasula. Bannayuganda bangi balina ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo gwe basasula eri ekitongole ekiwooza KRA.
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear kitenge at 10,000.
Alikuwa nafika kwa mwingine URA na kurespect lazima mzee tuongee. Munaongee. Hakuna fika kwa mwingine na kamata faili yako naweka kwa drawer na
okutegeera obukulu bw'okusasula omusolo busobola okuyamba okuzza bizinesi yo n'okwewala okufiirizibwanga. Kati osobola okufuna okuddibwamu obutereevu. Sindika ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo ng'oweereza obubaka bw'obutereevu ne WhatsApp ku nnamba y'essimu 0794188487 olwo ofuna okuddibwamu okuva ewa Kamisona General wa URA John Musinguzi. Laba amawulire gaffe UBC leero buli Lwabbalaza n'Olwokusatu ofune okunnyonnyola okulambulukufu okuva ew'omukenkufu. Buuza Kamisona.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you for sticking around on UBC. My name is Zakia Lucky and we are on Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. We are coming in with the second segment. The first segment, you saw students take us through the school museums at Immaculate Heart Girls School. And as we took our tour within the museum, we got to find something really interesting, and that is Omugamba. Personally, I didn't know about this, but I'm getting to learn about it. And the school also gets to celebrate Culture Day. And this time round, Ankole culture was celebrated. So with me are students that are going to help us explain this and take us through this particular culture. Listen in.
My name is Shomhendo Aida, a student at Immaculate Heart Girls School. I'm in senior 6. So today we shall be taking you through the Ankole culture, and we're going to be taking you through the introduction and the giveaway ceremony on the girls' side and on the boys' side. So what you see before you is called omgamba in our language, and in the exchange of the cows or the dowry that the boy has brought to the girl's home, they are given omgamba to represent the cows they brought to the girl's home. So on the mgamba, there are many components, and each of them plays a special role in the marriage of the newly wedded family. So as you can see, the mgamba contains many components, and among the components, there are milk gods. In our language, we call it ebyanzi. So ebyanzi, they are supposed to be matching the number of the cows the boy brings to the girl's home. So if the boy has brought 10 cows to the girl's home, they are supposed to be 10 milk gods. And on top of the byanzi or the milk gods, there are other things that come along. You can see this is called emboha. Emboha is traditionally it was made of a rope. It is specifically for tying a cow when milking, so that maybe the cow does not make movements and the milk spills. And this is supposed to be on the omgamba as a must, because as they have given the boy has brought to use this in their family. Next, we have etshawo, or you can call it a calabash. So etshawo is for churning milk. Churning milk, in Runyankore, we call it okuchunda. So omukuchunda nimwo turi kwiha amashita, or you can call it kawgi. That is how we obtain the kawgi. And this calabash is smoked using a special plant that is called omrama. Omrama produces special smoke that preserves milk and preserves the ghee, so it cannot go bad. Like, it can even sleep in the calabash and it does not go bad. So that is why the inside part of a calabash is black and the outside is brown, and it is supposed to be smeared with ghee so that it keeps glowing. So next we can see this. It is called ensimbo in our language. So ensimbo is supposed to be storing cow ghee. Cow ghee is very nutritious. It is supposed to be stored in this, and also we believe that the new bride can use it on her skin for better skin results. Next, we have enkoro. Enkoro is for drinking amakamo in our language. That is homemade yogurt that is manufactured from milk that is boiled without putting water. You just put like 2 dots of the yogurt from the previous day, and then the next morning you have to cover it. It has to stay warm. This is supposed to be kept like in warm places, because if you keep it in the cold, the milk is not going to be, like, it is not going to be yogurt the following day. And then this, as I have already told you, this is a milk god, or you can call it a chanzi in our language. So a chanzi is supposed to take, traditionally it was for taking only milk that has been fresh, like gotten from a cow, but now you can also use it to drink amakamo. You can smoke it using special grass called obwitzo. You can also use a special element called echunga. So you get the echunga, you put obwitzo, and then you smoke the milk god. By doing so, it is going to give the milk a special scent. It is going to give it an aroma, and someone who's going to be taking it is going to truly enjoy. And the leads of the milk gods in our language are called mheiha, which are stitched following certain patterns. As you can see this, this is white and maybe brown or black. This represents colors of specific cows. Let's say black and white, that is ngabo, which is a cow in our culture. So that is what it represents. And when we are in this house, we are not supposed to be exposing maybe some of the body parts. You're supposed to be decent first of all, very composed, and we are supposed to be calm. Okutebekana nibagira ngo mwishi kwaza kushitama mu jeje abatebekine ayetwara kandi agamba mpo. This one, it is called enjemeko. It is used on a bride on wedding nights for marriage purposes. Then this one, it is called ichuba. Ichuba is used for giving cows milk. In our language, we call it okwesherente. Most cases, this was traditionally used because during that time, the wells, the herdsmen were to get water from the wells and put in the water drainages for cows. But nowadays, we have seen where the water is being pumped from the main wells to the water drainages for cows. Then this is called enkuyo, and enkuyo is used for making cows comfortable during the milking, or you can use it when you're milking. Maybe there are some insects that are like coming around the cows, so you're supposed to keep the insects away and you make the cow comfortable. Or in the morning, sometimes you find like maybe there is cow dung on the skin of the cow, so you're supposed to use this, or you use this for cleaning the cow and keeping the fur of the cow clean. And then these are waist beads for body adornment. Ejin nenjemeko, in our language, it is supposed to carry water for washing ebianzi. These are the milk goats. So you put it there and it is supposed to stay in the milk house. My name is Shomhendo. Because that is groom, where maybe the washing is going to take place from. We have what we call HTM soap. It is made out of special grass as well. You use it on the milk pots in the inside so that it is thoroughly clean, and after you have to put other things, the ash, you put ash and then you clean again, then you have to put the last water for rinsing, then that is when the smoking takes place. My name is Shomhendo Aida, a student at Immaculate Heart Girls School. I'm in senior 6, and I was taking you through the omgamba, which is presented to the groom's side during the giveaway in the Ankole culture. Thank you.
It's been such an educative and interesting conversation, like you did here for yourselves, but then I'm wondering, maybe it would take me to the student and find out if this has been taught to you by probably the school, or where did you get to learn this from?
Well, because of being in this school, I have been here since senior 1, and the fact that we celebrate Women's Day and Culture Day each and every year in, year out, we are celebrating Culture Day, and each year we celebrate different cultures. We are given a chance for us to showcase our cultures. Personally, we have been into many cultures, and so we have been able to pick, even for the things that maybe I did not know when I was joining this school. Now I am aware, and that is how I can be able to explain all this. And the Gamba being in the school museum, we have been able to visit and know maybe more about this.
Interesting. I bet next time when they bring in probably the Karamajong culture or Uganda culture, will have most of these students also get to learn about different cultures. You've heard it all from yourselves. The Omgamba has quite so many items that have different meanings attached to them. There's what we can use to chase flies off the cow. I've learned one that you use to entice the groom as a bride, and where milk is being taken. So coming back with the third segment, we are still at Immaculate Heart.
Well, good morning once again. I'm Olive Monica Najuma here with Good Morning Uganda Business. Welcome back from that segment on Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express with Zakia Lucky at Immaculate High School. And they were taking us through Omugamba, explaining to us what it means in the Kinyankole culture, and I love it. I love learning about different cultures, including my own. So I believe that you and I have been taken to school this morning, no pun intended. Now, coming back to our business news today, with only one day after the bomb blast incident near the Martyrs Shrine in Munyonyo, we headed as UBC downtown Kampala to get a clear picture of the level of vigilance. On arrival, the entrance to the old taxi park shows no sign of security checkpoints or safety measures, with passengers and pedestrians freely walking in and out without luggage checks. However, upon interviewing the old taxi park leadership, they raised the concern of lack of a boundary which is allowing people to access the park from all directions. Along Namirembe Street and the entrance to the Chikubo Shopping Center, loads and loads of people were seen walking in with no sign of security vigilance observed. We interviewed the area's chairman who had this to say, who said a few things about the matter, and in a press briefing on Tuesday at the Ministry of Defense headquarters in Mbeya, Colonel Chris Magezi, the acting Defense Public Information Officer, confirmed that crucial intelligence had been obtained from a suspect arrested last week, which led to the prevention of what could have been a major tragedy. Now, still in business, let's turn our focus to schools. The Minister of Education and Sports recently issued new guidelines to curb extravagant spending and moral discipline in schools, particularly during events like prom and voting. The guidelines prohibit luxury displays like hiring helicopters or luxury vehicles for school functions, aiming to de-commercialize school culture and ensure schools remain focused on learning, character development, and inclusive participation. Here is what you need to know as regards to the Ministry of Education school guidelines. Teacher-to-child ratio. Schools are advised to reduce from the current ratio of 1 to 40 to 1 to 25, literally mean at any single moment there are 25 pupils per class maximum. Then school hours, pupils should report to school at 8 a.m. and leave by 30 minutes to 1 p.m. No homework. I think the school hours, this refers to kindergarteners. Then no homework. Government is of the view that all learning is limited to school time and environment without tensions in form of homework. Curriculum changes. Here, schools are encouraged to promote play-based learning with 7 key areas, including cursive handwriting, kanana, monana. Then no exams. Government further prohibits schools from subjecting learners to tedious termly examinations, but rather conduct continuous assessments. Infrastructure and safety. Schools must be fenced, provide 1.5 square meters per child indoors. And still on schools, nursery, kindergarten, nursery pupils are presumed unfit for school trips, and so government has banned any trip for them except for primary 1 to 3, which is also only allowed under exceptional circumstances with strict supervision. And as regards foreign trips, in case of a foreign trip, government advises that schools must seek the ministry approval with clear educational objectives. They must include 1 teacher and at least 2 parents as chaperones. And then when it comes to PLE out, primary leaving examinations to be phased out for continuous assessments. Interesting. Curriculum overhaul, focus on competence-based learning, early childhood focus. Policy ensures 3+ years for nursery enrollment. Well, these are interesting guidelines coming in from the Minister of Education and Sports. And I have a few things I agree with, especially the part of school hours. I personally don't understand why kindergarteners should be in school up to 4, 5 p.m. But parents also have their reasons and schools the same. And I'm sure parents are happy about the part of no homework. The big question is, will the schools abide? We will wait and see. And then P7 being phased out. Now that is interesting. We'll see how that goes, because the guidelines have been given, but it is not a law. So far so good. I think some schools will continue doing what they've been doing until there is a law against some of these things. Well, thank you so much. That has been some of the stories. Those have been some of the stories we could share with you in our business segment. But now let's have a look at Forex spreads, especially as we closed business yesterday and as we open for business this morning. Now at opening yesterday, June 4th, the US dollar was buying at 3,635 and selling at 3,645. Then by midday, it was buying at 3,636 and selling at 3,646. At closing, the US dollar was buying at 3,636 and selling at 3,646. The pound sterling was buying at 4,912 and selling at 4,925. The euro was buying at 4,133 and selling at 4,145. The Kenya shillings was selling at 28.13 and was buying at 28.13 and selling at 28.21. The Tanzania shilling was buying at 1.35 and selling at 1.36, and the South African rand was buying at 203.47 and selling at 204.03. That's how businesses are opening up, or the Forex market is opening up this morning. We'll share more on that tomorrow. For now, stick around. Julie is coming back with an interesting conversation looking at the State of the Nation address. Stick around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Okwongera okuyiga ebikwata ku musolo n'okubisembereza abagusasula. Bannayuganda bangi balina ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo gwe basasula eri ekitongole ekiwooza KRA.
Nakapita ya mitwalo 5
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear Chitenge at 10,000.
Alikuwa nafika kwa mwingine URA na kurespect lazima mzee tuongee. Munaongee. Hakuna fika kwa mwingine na kamata file yako naiko kwa drawer na.
Okutegeera obukulu bw'okusasula omusolo busobola okuyamba okuzza bizinesi yo n'okwewala okufiirizibwanga. Kati osobola okufuna okuddibwamu obutereevu. Sindika ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo ng'oweereza obubaka bw'obutereevu ne WhatsApp ku nnamba y'essimu 0794 14 18 87 olwo ofuna okuddibwamu okuva ewa Kamisona General wa URA John Musinguzi. Laba amawulire gaffe UBC leero buli lwa bbalaza n'olwokusatu ofuna okunnyonnyola okulambulukufu okuva ew'omukenkufu. Buuza Kamisona.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project. That answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Across Uganda, the parish development model is paving the way for prosperity
helping families transform their lives through strategic farming practices, like the 4-acre model.
In our Chivaro of 1996, we said first acre, put coffee. Second acre, fruits. The third acre, you put pasture for dairy cows. The fourth acre, for food, cassava. The good thing is that now cassava is also becoming a very good cash product, but at least for food. Then, mind you, the backyard. You put poultry for eggs, you put piggery.
I'm in a 1 acre plot of land. In this 1 acre, Your Excellency, I practice this banana plantation. I also practice coffee. I also have dairy, Your Excellency. Every month, Your Excellency, I get 500,000 from these bunches.
The 7 activities we recommended, they have a big global demand.
We have 10,000 Nile tilapia fish and 10,000 African catfish. And when we sell our 10,000 tilapia, we get in one harvest 20 million shillings.
Fruits, especially capsule, which is cold, can do very high value crops like apples. And then finally, those who are near the wetlands, like the ones in Bukit who are wasting the wetlands, they should do fish farming, not in the center of the swamp, but at the edge of the swamp.
From coffee farms to fish ponds, the 4-acre model is empowering Ugandans to transform their lives. The parish development model is your pathway to wealth creation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining UBC TV, always here to inspire you. It's Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi. Time for the agenda, and we are talking about the State of Nation address. Today, the President of Uganda is set to deliver the State of Nation address at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, and on this particular day, he shall officially open the 5th session of the 11th Parliament. Now, some of the key issues that are expected to be highlighted: security is in there, service delivery and the gaps in there, and opportunities for youth employment, and a lot more. Now, in studio with me are two gentlemen who have really been having interesting conversations behind the scenes that I've been laughing at and about, but they are also very, very, very pertinent and important. So much so that they have a plethora of knowledge and all the rights to speak into this matter. Mr. Julius Mukunda from CS Bag, a very experienced economist, is speaking with us today, as well as Mr. Stephen Asimwe, who is the CEO of the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda. Thank you so much for joining the show. And if you've just joined in, please stick around for the conversation. Now, the number that you must save is 0709-602-592. It's a WhatsApp number that you are able to use to engage in on the conversation. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Judy.
Good morning, Mr. Julius Mukunda.
How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Good morning, our viewers.
Right. Good morning, Mr. Stephen.
Morning, Julie.
Thank you so much for coming.
A pleasure to be here again.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And both of you, indeed, it's again.
Yes, yes, yes.
You've been quite surprised about our new outlook, but yeah, bright and shiny.
Wow.
Congratulations.
All right.
Now I'm beginning to see where taxpayers' money is going. So, this is real accountability.
Surely, indeed, yes. Accountability at its best. And I'll start with you, Mr. Julius. What are you expecting from today's State of Nation address regarding the country's economic challenges, especially as we look forward to the year 2026 general elections?
Oh, yes, I think the president, I think he has two sides. One is that he has 5 years accountability report to give us. And also he has a 5-year problems that are there or occurring and that are also likely to come. So actually, FAIR has a balanced report. If you look at the things that are really there, on the economic side especially, one of the things I think we need to appreciate is that we've maintained inflation. Inflation has really been subdued below 5%. And we normally take these things for granted, but Asimi will tell you, if this inflation figure goes above 10%, everybody in this country will start getting agitated. Businesses, individuals, they will start getting agitated. So I think that's an incredible milestone for government, and I'm very sure it's going to ride on that. The other part also is a stable currency. You see, with exchange rate, whether it is very high or low, but if you maintain stability, that today morning you wake up a shilling is at 1,000, but the next day, yesterday it was at 500. So it becomes difficult for businesses to plan, and that becomes a very big problem. So there is that. This year, I think there is this economic inclusion drive agenda that has really, and I think he has got the magic this time around. The PDM. I think he has got the magic. We really worked on this, and I think it's one program that really goes directly to the people's pockets, and not the person. And I'm so happy that money no longer now goes through Finance, Bank of Uganda, then different ministries before it reaches. It just by a click, it goes in somebody's pocket. So that's very important. And also the financial inclusion. I mean, I was looking, we have like 34 million mobile money accounts. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's huge. That your grandfather is somewhere sleeping and the money comes on your phone. I mean, I know so many countries that don't do that. So there is that type of accountability that is going to make. And whether you like it or not, you can see that. The other part, I think, which is still a very big challenge, of course, is corruption. Mm. That one, I think, however much we talk and the cows come back home, I think is still a very big challenge that we have failed to address. And I think it's not because we don't have the policies, we don't have the laws. I think there is the level of how people have manipulated the system into their favor. And I think I've said this on this show, that corruption in this country is no longer highway robbery. Somebody plans for it. You put it in the budget. You take it to Parliament.
It's very systematic.
It is appropriated. The only thing the accounting officer needs to do is to spend that money. And even if you go to court and say, hey, these guys are not spending money, it is corrupt money, the money they are spending is corrupt money. The judge will tell you, no, but this money was appropriated by Parliament and they are spending it. So if we look at, for example, the handshake in the Parliament, it's so awful, but it was legal. They put it there, it was spent, go away. So that's the level of sophistication that corruption is now shielded into the law. It's very difficult to touch it, and I think the president really is struggling with that. And of course, lastly, for me, is the issue of executing projects and programs of government on a time and on a budget. I mean, just look at the Kampala flyover, the kind of miracle it has done in addressing traffic jam. I had not actually used it. He used it to tell me until I wanted to try it out and see how it is. I was in a shock. But imagine if we had finished that 5 years ago, we would be doing other things. So when you have government projects that take long to be finished, that escalate in terms of prices, it becomes very difficult on our part. First, to pay off these loans, because most projects are on loans, but also the loans become very expensive for us to pay. And in the end, now the president, out of the 72 trillion budget, 38% of that budget is for debt servicing. So he really has little money on himself to address so many challenging problems that are happening. Thank you.
Right. Coming to you, Mr. Stephen Asimwe, from a business perspective, what are your expectations from today's State of Nation address, especially still as we are looking forward to the 2026 general elections?
Thank you very much, Julie. I think that first, Julius makes very salient standpoints on a couple of issues which I pretty much agree with in the context of Private Sector Foundation Uganda, which I preside over, is essentially the apex body of private sector associations and businesses. And under our consortium, we have over 340 business associations. I was telling him earlier that we have very big associations like UMA, and some very small ones like the Mushroom Association and Honey. And I take all of them seriously because technically, if you look at how you can handle some of those things, they can actually blossom into a very serious economy. Now, the State of the Union address is actually an audit of the performance of the yesteryears and is actually a manifesto for the next year. Now, what's interesting about this particular State of the Union, it's the precursor to the national elections. I think you have seen that a lot of parties now, there's a lot of political fever, but you cannot divorce politics from economics. And therefore, what the president is essentially going to state is, in my view, is a State of the Union comfort and a plan of action. People are yearning to hear issues to do with stability, both of the politics and the economics, because you cannot operate in business without. And I think that the president is, in many ways than one, first going to talk about the nation's readiness to provide that security and sanctity that will create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Now, at PSFU, we work largely, our mandate mainly is advocacy for an enabling environment for any business, be it micro, small, or large, to be able to move. Now, having said that, for us at PSFU and the private sector, number one, we want stability of the economy. We want to hear that I can grow my goods, I have a market for them, I'll get a good price, and by extension, I have a good market. And the guarantors for that is access to finance, the cost of finance, infrastructure, and obviously those enablers like, and we've repeated this many times, that one of our biggest challenges a couple of months ago was the drought. Now, any farmer will tell you, whether crop or livestock, animals, that water is the lowest common denominator. And one of the things we are really looking forward to is how do we hedge against this, and the sun has started to shine again.
Right, yes.
So I'm a farmer, and I also represent farmers. And really, for us, we really want to see a speech that will contain those guarantors, infrastructure, and where, by the way, the government has done a fantastic job up country. The challenge is here in the center. The traffic jams, actually, we have measured them against GDP. That the longer you stay in a jam, actually, it has an impact on the cost of doing business.
Yes.
And that's very critical. Of course, we have seen a lot of movements now, especially in the city center, but we would like to see more outbound, and I think Julia's pointed about that, the need for us to really work on quickly. Ring roads, exit points. One of my very, very good heartbeats is tourism. One of the things we really want to hear is our biggest cash cow, the mountain gorillas in Bwindi and Mugainga. Now, Bwindi produces about 65% of the tourism receipts. So just to put you in perspective, a permit to go and view, to track mountain gorillas is about $750 to $800 in Bwindi and Mugahinga. But to visit Queen Elizabeth or Kidepo, you only pay $40 for a foreign tourist. But the roads in Bwindi alone, they are just terrible. And there's an urgency that if we are going to achieve the tenfold growth, one of the key areas that we have to manage is infrastructure. And we want to commend government for doing a good job, but on an urgency, if we are going to project the tenfold growth, infrastructure is going to be very critical. So one of the things we hope to hear is that, for example, for me to go and track a gorilla takes me 12 hours, plus or minus maybe an hour. But what's important here is the fact that, is it possible that I can fly from Kajansi or Entebbe and be within the vicinity of Kanungu, where, by the way, Julius comes from, not very far, in 25 minutes, track, and then be able to have another experience. Want to commend government, of course, on managing inflation. I think Julius talked about it. A stable macro and microeconomic environment is very good, both for the natives, but also for investors. And I think a lot of people are going to be listening in today, especially investors. Telecoms, fantastic job. It's now, I think for me, the issues are going to be revolving around job creation, especially for young people. Our country now has the youngest population in the world, but also a very educated population.
And very
the challenge with that is you have a restless young population. Now, restless people need to be managed somehow. And we feel that if we can create those enablers, especially private sector, which is the biggest employer, on issues to do with incentives, upskilling, because we have a lot of young people leaving the country to go and do mundane jobs. We want to see another value proposition on some of these young people leaving to go and do much more professional jobs that will then bring more money, because the remittances now have outstripped. If you leave minerals, which is our #1 export, the next one is remittances from abroad. But if you look at the value proposition, we can actually do better. And our view is that we have capacity to upskill, so that more than just cleaning or managing a retail facility, you can actually go and work in an ICT place, which now brings in the question of what sort of new skills do we want to give our young people. Our view is we now need to invest more into IP, intellectual property, get kids and young people who can actually go and get skills that earn you more money, and then they're able to guarantee more remittances into the country, and obviously. But over and above, I think it's a State of the Union comfort address. People want to be comfortable. And I think the drivers are available. I like, and I want to commend the ministry, the government, the president, and the Ministry of Finance, but now particularly Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They have started a very serious, protracted program under the economic and the commercial diplomacy. It's doing a fantastic job. I mean, I've attended events abroad where I've been part of a supporting framework for private sector. And I can tell you, we have more demand than supply. Guy tells you we want 10,000 goats per week. Do we have that capacity? It has to go back to the drawing board and to ensure that we create very good strategies. But finally, which for me is, there are two things. The issue of, and I think Julius pointed, but let me emphasize it again, those bureaucracies. You have a budget, but to effect that budget, you need to have those elements that critically look at how fast we can absorb, but also deploy those resources. That, for me, is critical. And we can unpack it in a bit. The other one is what is the team? So the president is the manager. If I give the analogy of football, you have a coach and a team captain, and then the players. How you deploy those players, midfield, striking line, defense, how you train, how you prepare to be the winners of the Premier League, depends more on the preparation and the execution. And I think what Julius pointed out earlier, and what many of us believe, is the fact that this State of the Union address he's going to give today must be accompanied with a winning team, a winning formula, and a winning execution plan that will then say, when he's now giving next year's address, it's an audit of performance. And therefore, I think that those are the areas that we shall be looking forward to. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Simwe. Stephen, and if you want to be on the show, 0709-602-592. Now, I will stay with you, Stephen. What Uganda has been without a governor for the Bank of Uganda for about 2 years. We just got one in February this year.
Yes.
And the absence of a governor for the Bank of Uganda, what do you think, what effect do you think it has had on investor confidence?
No, I think I would beg to sort of think otherwise.
Right.
I think we need to give credence to the institution of Bank of Uganda. That Bank of Uganda, by and large, has maintained a stable regime of the exchange rate mechanism. Very, very stable. I mean, Uganda, by the way, has been rated to have the best and most stable currency regime in the region. But secondly, you have to also give credit to the deputy governor for having, even though his title, but technically he was the governor, and by and large, I think he did a good job. I think there's more than, it's about optics. We can also suggest that, for example, the appointment of Professor Nwagaba with Dr. Tingi, these are some of the best brains in the world, by any estimates. So I think the announcement in itself was fantastic. A lot of people would poke fingers in the lack of the decision.
Right.
But if you look at the output and the fact that even without him being there, the institution of the central bank performed very well. But kudos to His Excellency for appointing him fully, but also giving him a stable and a fantastic support person in Professor Nwagaba. And I think also, if you look at some of the changes at the central bank, they've been commendable. If you look at some of the strategic leaders, and so the banks are happy, the economists are happy, but also these are people you can talk to, and they really give you what arguably is a good position paper on the economy.
Right. Let me come to you, Julius, as from an economist's eye, especially on the country's financial stability. What is your perspective? What do you think? What impact do you think not having a governor for about 2 years had on the country's financial stability?
Yes, I think for me is that there is a huge lesson to learn from that.
Right.
That it's important to have very strong institutions, because the moment you have weak institutions and then you don't have a leader of that institution, then the institution collapses immediately. But you have a Bank of Uganda that, despite not having a governor, it still worked. And I think this should be a lesson for all other government institutions, and even for all our policymakers, that it is very, very important to have institutions that are strong and can deliver.
Right.
So that even if you don't have a governor and you have an acting one, the mechanisms, the delivery, the functioning, the system is still functioning until the governor comes. So it's critically very important. For us, I think my worry was that you have this huge institution and you have one person. Yes, he's working, but it's like having a car and one of the tires is not working well. So you are likely to reach the destination, but really you are weakening the car in the process. So I'm glad that it didn't happen, that we have a governor, like he said. I think we have the best brains there right now. And I think it is now a very strong signal that to all the players in the financial industry that we have a very strong leadership. I think for me that's the fear you have, that I mean, there are very few institutions in this country where you give respect. Whatever comes out, you are like, okay, yeah, this is it. You don't want even to question it. So therefore, you want a stable leadership in that particular place. But thanks to the president, that despite taking long to get a person, we got the best team. And I think he mentioned something around you need a winning team to execute programs. Because when you don't have it, however good ideas you have, however you have planned so well, but a winning team is important. So really, even in this State of the Nation address, I'm really looking forward for that. For the president to say, yes, these are the challenges we have. The problems are there, they will never go, but this is how we're going to solve them. And in the solving them, that's where you want a winning team. Because, for example, I know the president has been telling us that oil is coming. And let me only consider the last 5 years, oil is coming. And I'm very sure he's going to still tell me that oil is coming.
Because some of the sources have it that 2026.
I mean, it was last year, then we put it this year, now this year we're in the middle of it. Now I'm hearing it is next year. So is it because we don't have the right team? Is it because of something else? But I think fundamentally, real for me is the slow progress of programs and projects in this country. We need to sort it out. No investor is going to sit down and wait and say, okay, until they finish the road, that's when I will be able to come in, or I will wait until they finish. No. People want to come, invest, and run away, and go and do some other businesses. So, I mean, if these industrial parks, if we can finish them very, very well, because these are magic things. These are magic things. You can finish them very quickly. If you have, Karuma is now on board. The electricity is coming on board. I mean, if you cope, this pipeline, if we finish it, because let me tell you, in this country, if this oil does not come out, we're in trouble. Because we borrowed all this money knowing that the oil is going to flow. So it must come. So I think the president needs to think about that and say, what is preventing us from finishing this pipeline on time? And I know one of the things is because of the right of way. Right of way in this country is the biggest problem.
Right.
See, Chira here where I come from, where I stay. Now the contractor has almost abandoned the road, the Chira, Kasanga, Tematoga road. Simply because some people, you are giving them less money, they want more money for compensation.
And to just actually delve deeper into more, because the other question now that comes to mind is earlier on you talked about the issue of corruption, that you feel that our president is so far still dealing with such a burden in regards to corruption. And then you talk about the right of way, things that are sometimes not clear, oil is coming, it's not coming. What role do you think the lack of respect for systems contributes, of systems of standards plays in perpetuating corruption in the government especially?
I mean, Asimo will tell you, I mean, if you don't have, I think the lack of standards is one of the, it's another area, because even compensation, even when we are doing these compensations, if you are buying these pens and these books, if you go in the government, this pen will be supplied by one supplier and will be supplied to different government departments at different prices.
And I think the case here is perhaps the standards are there, but they are not necessarily respected.
Enforcement. So I want the president to see how we can enforce some of these. See, we have all these things on paper, by the way. Yes. We have it on paper. But people have decided to start working around them. And really, you need the president to say, okay, we are getting serious here. We need an enforcement mechanism to do it. So that if you don't, then there are repercussions of why you have not done that. And things should be as simple as go to Ministry of Works. You have money to finish these Kampala roads. The money is with you. But you are unable to even finish one procurement. Simply because somebody brought in a smaller company which has never constructed a single bridge. Another one has a company which has never existed, hasn't had a license, and you leave a competent company that could have done your job work simply because the company can't give a kickback. So when you do it, World Bank comes in and said these companies are all hopeless. Now they don't have an experience. So you store simply because of those small things. And businesses are suffering. Businesses are suffering. So you want that enforcement mechanism, somebody to be on top of things and say, this is what they want to be done. I'm glad that the OPM now, I think they have the deputy head of civil service. They have got the deputy for purposes of ensuring that there is that. I'm hoping that she or he can actually do that and bring people to book. Because what we are missing, I think the biggest challenge we are facing right now is around impunity. Talk from, from the above, a phone call from the above, and then they don't touch you because, you are very important. But we need real people to be disciplined. We need people to respect the rules of the game. And we need people to love their country and deliver for Ugandans. These cases of Murago people where the rich and the poor are all suffering, when I see these things, and I said it from here, you just need one medical bill, and you go below the poverty line. So, and these are things that we can do, but simply because people have decided to channel. So, really, Mr. President, I'm hoping that you are listening, so that we can be able to say, please let us put an enforcement mechanism on the small money we have so that we can deliver what Ugandans want.
Right. 0709-602-592. That is a WhatsApp number that you need to engage. And please engage within the threshold that we have so that we are able to also engage your opinions here on the show. Coming to you, Stephen. Still staying with matters government, you deal with bigger organizations as well as the smaller ones, like you earlier on stated. You deal with UMA, and then you deal with the Honey Association, mushrooms. That means you deal with the nitty-gritty up to grassroots level. In your experience, especially dealing with individuals at that, how best do you think citizens can ensure that their elected officials are held accountable for their actions? I know, as we've rightly put it, there's a lot within the system that lacks, and it, somewhat chokes what citizens would do to help themselves. But what can be done in the now, and the president can definitely partake of and use to curb all these corruption cases that we see every now and again?
No, that's a very good question. So I want to talk for government.
Right.
I am a recipient of
the services
of government.
Yes.
Either the failure or the success.
Right.
Now, I think that first of all, we have a population that has grown, and there's pressure on resources. Now, I think the biggest issue here is not a lack of budget or policies, it's the enforcement of those enablers. Now, they say that money has no DNA, and money hates smoke. Oh, yeah. Money hates smoke. The moment there is smoke and noise, it will run away, either domestic or foreign.
Right.
So we'll just see the first one. So an investor comes and then he wants to invest in Uganda. The government, and again I must commend them here, and we did this, we participated with the government at PSFU. We implemented a program for the one-stop center. We built a 12-storied building, which now houses Uganda Investment Authority, Capital Markets Authority, KCCA. So it's a one-stop center. You come in, you register a business, they give you an investment license, and you start to do business. What that essentially did, overnight, it was able to remove the bureaucracies and red tape. So previously, you came into the country and drove to one building and then drove to another one. So for me, those are very good, low budget, high impact interventions. Secondly, is the use of technology. The need to say, I can actually go online and get my systems sorted out. Then you eliminate a lot of these things. Thirdly is the fact that I think we need to start rewarding good performers. A case in point are these driving permits. If I had a medal, I would give it to that institution.
I don't think these guys are Ugandans. Are they Ugandans?
They are Ugandans. They are called Julius Makunda and Avatanzi,
I counted. I went counted, and it took me 25 minutes.
Yes.
I was in shock.
To complete the whole?
I was in shock. 25 minutes.
Yes. So there are some very good institutions, by the way.
Right.
And unfortunately, of course, partly because of our social media, we kind of concentrate on failures. But clearly, there are some very good institutions where you go, you get a service done, you walk out, and you're a satisfied customer or whatever. So I think we need to start rewarding performers and benchmarking on them. And again, there are so many examples. But what is critical, again, is the fact that if I have money, can I deploy it where I'm going to get a return on investment? Faster, easier, and that it is actually going to win me. And I'll give you the example right now. The biggest issue now, especially from the farming side, is the issue of coffee. When you grow your coffee and you look after it very well, it actually fetches you a good price. That's why you have a huge, lack of a better word, migration. Everybody is going coffee. One, it has a good price. Two, shelf life is fantastic. Three, the markets are good. And of course, the conversation around the need to value add on it. So business people and the entire population are looking for good institutions, good people. And they are there. They are in plenty. The world hates bad people, hates bad systems. The world loves good systems and likes good people. And I think that we are not short of that. And I think my view is that we need to see some of those good human resource, good human capital, taking responsibility in places where they deliver. Like I said earlier, our captain has done a good job. He now needs to create, to replicate a lot of his good skills and capacities into some of those places.
Right.
Because you see, you can have a system here, but a very poor enforcer. And then you can have a very good enforcer, but a very poor system, where people really, they make your life very difficult.
And really what I'm picking from that is the fact that rewarding good performers essentially changes the narrative through experience.
Yes.
And like you talked about social media, these are the narratives that need to be pushed on social media so that they are fed into, people have the information and are able to access this and
services. A case in point was what we've just been sharing, that we have an institution called the Central Bank. In the region, it's peer review, world class.
Right.
Stable regime mechanism, good systems, good enforcement. That's why you have banks which are very stable, because the enforcement mechanism is world class.
Right.
They can come anytime, audit you. So an investor feels, you know what, I think the banking sector in Uganda is a good one to go to. Why? The structure is fantastic. The hardware, the software, the enabling environment, the processes, the people, the human capital. So where does money go? It goes where there's less smoke.
Right. Let me engage a couple of your comments as we begin to bring this conversation to a close. My name is Ruhweza Mark Patrick, a law student at Uganda Pentecostal University. In my opinion, I think the president should address us on the issue of our currency value so that our shilling can have some more value like it is the case in other countries, so that at least even when one is heading out with his Ugandan shilling, he or she can be able to invest or do something valuable abroad. That is Ruhweza Stephen. And hello, Stephen Asimwe. Thank you for sharing your insights with us today. I'd like to ask, what policies or initiatives could the president announce to support the growth of the textile and fashion industry to promote local production and enhance the competitiveness of Ugandan fashion designers in the global market? This is Nsubu Garoni, founder, Pearl of Africa Fashion Alliance. That is to you, Stephen.
Yes.
Yes, please.
That is a fantastic question. Actually, let me, and I'm glad he has raised that issue. A lot of times, most of us actually do a lot of debates on the traditional things.
Right.
Agriculture, oil and gas, etc., etc. There is one sector that has been ignored, and yet it is one of the biggest employers, money spinners, and actually it's the creative industry. This creative industry, the best example is about 3 countries. The US with Hollywood, in India with Bollywood, and now Nigeria with Nollywood. Those countries have actually seen the value of creativity. What informs the night economy? It's entertainment, it's employment. I stay in Bunga, with due respect to the activities of the night, I don't indulge in them. But when you drive from about 10, and I leave home very early in the morning before 6 o'clock, you find those things are, things are happening. The entertainment industry is big.
Yes.
But if you look at it closely, it has these backward and forward linkages. Agribusiness, there's more chicken consumed in the night than during the daytime, I think. The agribusiness sector, the beverages sector, the textiles.
Right.
A policy like, for example, saying that Ugandans should feel free to wear traditional, creatives. If you go to Ghana and most of West Africa, by the way, those people wear their agbada and
Ankara.
They have, and the creativity is incredible.
Yes.
Nigeria alone employs over 5 million people in the textile industry, seamstresses, people in the design, and now the textile sector, cotton and those fabrics have gone out of this world. Now the Nigerians are exporting their, but that comes along with it a lot of employment. I know a lawyer friend of mine who has actually left the legal practice and is making more money in the textile sector.
Right.
Things like flowers, landscaping, etc. So I think we now need to create those avenues where people can go into incubation centers, ICT. People are creating, now in my language, we even have Runyankore cartoons. Nickelodeon has been in English, but now we have cartoons in Uganda. You remember this other man, what was his name? It's a big deal.
Right.
It's a big deal, storytelling. So I think that the issue of textiles, fashion industry, cuisine, the creative sector,
yes.
I mean, it's a money spinner, it creates jobs, and then there's a consumption element. Flower industry has gone up. I mean, it's one of those areas.
Gentlemen, allow me bring this conversation to a close because time is not on our side. But from what Stephen Nasimo has said is clearly that the creative industry should get out of the gig economy and be wholesomely established, and that's something I think many Ugandans are also looking forward to be addressed, given that Uganda is 75% young of the population under 30 of Uganda. That's it from Good Morning Uganda. I really look forward to when we have this gentleman back in studio to engage more into this conversation. Very important, very interesting, and one to learn a lot from. But Ruben Chividangompima is coming up next with the sports update, and he has guests there, so you stick around and get to feed into that as well. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala,